Okay, so now we're going to miracle. The miracle is possible when cause and consequence, cause and effect, are brought together, not kept separate. The healing of effect without the cause can merely shift effects to other forms. And this is not release. God's Son could never be content with less than full salvation and escape from guilt. For otherwise, he still demands that he must make some sacrifice, and thus denies that everything is his, unlimited by loss of any kind. A tiny sacrifice is just the same in its effects as is the whole idea of sacrifice. If loss in any form is possible, then is God's Son made incomplete and not himself. Nor will he know himself, nor recognize his will. He has forsworn his Father and himself and made them both his enemies in hate. Remember, we were talking about loss, the idea of loss. It's so important to monitor your thinking and perceptual interpretations of events in line of loss, knowing if loss in any form is possible, then the course is not true. And we are separate from God. And that's where all fear is. So that's why anytime you perceive you're going to lose something or someone else is going to lose something, that's why you get upset. Because you are stating a fact that seems to imply the separation is real. We are not all a part of God with everything. We have lost. Someone's lost. And so can you see how this world is all about deceiving us into the belief loss is real? Mm-hmm. Isn't almost everything happening a form or a play, a little drama of loss?
Yeah.
And that's why it's so frightening, and that's why people are all upset. And then what they do, so let's say that's what's happening. We have this drama, we think it's real, so we don't even question it. The loss is real. So what do? We find distracting idols to compensate for the fear the whole idea of loss is giving us. And so that's why people are so engaged in their jobs or in their relationships or in their alcohol and their drugs and their parties or their whatever works them.
Even in the war, we believe there is death.
Mm-hmm.
And
it seems to be proof,
when
loss.
we think of ourselves as a body,
yes.
We believe in death.
And loss.
And loss.
That's why it's so frightening. Because it seems to be a very real, this one's a very big one, that the separation is real. People are losing.
Yeah.
So that means God's Son is not complete. It means the oneness is not true. It means all this is a lie. Well, that's scary. So it brings up the fear. And so the more we can hear this, the more we believe this and start to go, okay, my perceptions are deceiving me because this is a pretty impressive picture of loss. And, war is a very impressive picture that loss is real. That's why it brings everyone, up into fear-based places. And so with the help of the Holy Spirit, though, and understanding the thought system that this is teaching, the more you can now look at that and go, yeah, the play is very convincing, but I'm not deceived. And that one tape we listened to about the near-death experiences where people say they don't die really helps, too, because you got people witnessing to no big deal,
Right.
I got shot.
I was in the morgue.
Yeah, right, I was in the morgue, no big deal.
About that like 3 days over the weekend.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
And he got shot by the KGB, wasn't it the one?
Yeah.
So he even got shot, which seems like a real loss because he didn't have anything to do with that. So that could be very upsetting. And so what we need to understand, we're not really upset by the specifics of any of these pictures. We're upset by what meaning it implies to us. So depending on our mind, it will give different meanings. So there's a different level of upset. But if it's real convincing to us that the separation is real, it's going to bring up a lot of terror. So that's all you have to know. Is there really, none of them are more difficult than any other. Like you said, no miracle is more difficult because they all are illusions of loss.
Yeah.
So you can pinpoint what you need to have corrected. You can say, I believe they lost their life, or I believe they lost their family of love, or I believe they lost the ability to take care of, whatever it is, and say, okay, now show me there's no loss here, because that's what I have to see to have a miracle. A miracle is the realization no loss happened, that the separation is not true. And that's, because you have to find a way to comb your mind. What is this that's driving me into this fear place? Mm-hmm. And I thought it was interesting as I've done this. It's not just about me losing things that makes me go berserk. If I think anyone has lost, it scares me because it's the idea of loss being real. So it's anybody. Yeah. That's why we'll get really on the side of a war between two people, whatever, looks like somebody's losing and somebody's winning, we're going to line up on the side because we're trying, because it's scaring us that this is true. Somebody will lose, somebody will win.
And that is true. And I mean, I've even thought of it in politics, if this party is elected, then I'm going to have a tremendous loss, and there will be tremendous loss not only for myself but for everybody, and it's pretty exaggerated in my mind, I think.
Well, so this is why we have to separate the world of perception from the reality we're talking about. In this world, loss is really happening. Yes, there is going to be loss. The issue is, are we going to base our sense of reality based on what's happening in the dream? Or are we going to remember that in truth, no one can lose anything, that their real identity is ready to come forward the minute that they want it to. And until then, they've all chosen to be in this dream of loss. And everyone, especially in a democracy, it's easy to see how everyone voted for it if it's what happened. Well, not everyone, but there was too much of a mindset wanting loss if that's what comes to us. But it's not really coming to us.
It's true.
So that's the only way, because we're here. We're in the dream of loss. We're in the dream of guilt. The pictures are very persuasive, and then we have experiences that say we have to remember there is, to deny the denial of truth. Remember, we need to deny this denial. The truth is we have everything, and that everyone's loving, because we'll never wake up otherwise if we let the evidence here tell us what's true.